And thanks for coming along here today. My name is Damien McCann. I am a member of the leadership team at a company called Viatel. We're part of the DigiWeb group. For over 10 years I've been providing solutions, connectivity, data center solutions to some of Ireland's leading enterprise and business customers, both in rural areas and urban areas across the country. And then we extended out providing services across Europe. As the words of Salvador Dali, intelligence without ambition is like a bird without wings. Today I'm here to talk about a national epidemic. An epidemic on a par with that of the crisis in our health sector, the crisis in education, a crisis in education. This epidemic is the huge gap between broadband connectivity in rural Ireland and that in the service in metropolitan Ireland. For the past number of years I've been living in rural Ireland, so I know this firsthand. I know what it's like to try and operate a business being disconnected from the world. Having to travel to a local library to send emails is not a nice way to be. But if you're located in a zone like this, pretty much you don't have this problem. You're not faced with being disconnected. If your health service, if your hospital, if your manufacturing site is located in this area, then you're in the position where connectivity, fiber optic providers are racing into this zone to provide service. You will have the likes of BT and Zyro and Air all queuing up to provide service, sometimes digging up the same roads, laying fiber over the same ducts in a race to get your service. But if you are a hospital or if you're a pharmaceutical site or healthcare sector, you're more out in a zone like this, in a greenbelt area, which somewhat is disconnected, or the fibre optic players are not racing to provide service to your area. The answer, or the race for the greenbelt zones, comes in the form of at a snail's pace. And what's required here is government intervention. What's required here is a national broadband plan, and that's what we're here today to discuss. Initially, this plan was launched by Pat Rabbitt, the TD and Minister for Communications, and then was handed over to Alex White, again former Minister for Communications. But with political change came another change, and we're currently leaving the National Broadband Plan in the hands of Dennis Naughton. He is the current Minister. Mr. Naughton now has pushed the National Broadband Plan out to 2022 for fulfilment. So it's been pushed out by Pat Rabbitt, pushed out by Alex White, and now pushed out again by Dennis Naughton. And with political change, it could be pushed out again in the future. The current status here in Ireland is, at the end of 2016, this is what the broadband coverage in Ireland looked like. The blue areas are those that are actually serviced with proper broadband standards up to EU level. The amber areas are those areas of Ireland offline. So these are the areas that are sub the EU standard of broadband penetration or service. So the intervention comes here in the form of an investment of the government, an investment of €500 million, 500 million euros of investment. And the plan initially under Alex White was that by 2020 we would have 100% broadband fibre access across the 26 counties. This, under Dennis Naughton, has been pushed out to 2022. So, just bear with me 2 seconds. The problem I can see with that is that by the end of 2022, the ambition of our government is to provide a 100% broadband access. and ambition of the government. And 2022 is a long way off. So the question we all have is, can our health service and can our businesses wait until 2022 for a government ambition? Can you put all your IT strategies, your IT projects on hold in the hope that the government finally comes good on this plan? And I think the answer we'll all agree is a resounding no. We can't wait. We can't wait 6, 7, 8 more years. So we need to get creative, and we need to be ambitious ourselves. And for this, let's look at the state of Florida. The east coast of Florida, similar to Ireland's large towns and cities, is actually serviced sufficiently with broadband services. However, the central zone and the northwestern area is a no man's land for broadband service. So, the answer being, similar to Ireland, government intervention. Albeit on a smaller scale, the US government just wasn't as generous as the Irish. The US government pledged $24 million to the authorities in Florida to resolve the problem. Compared to our 100 or half a billion, 500 million, it's quite a gap. So the landmass of Florida is 100,000 square kilometers greater than Ireland. With $24 million, it was impossible to make this work with fibre optic services. They wouldn't have covered single-digit percentages. So they turned to alternative technologies, alternative thinking, and with that they rolled out a licensed radio service on the back of a company called Ceragon Networks. In 6 months they had addressed the problem. 6 months they had covered the affected area, and in 6 months, with 24 million, they had rolled out broadband service to 174,000 households, 16,500 businesses were connected, with speeds of up to 200 megabytes, effectively eliminating the digital divide. So this is creative thinking. This is not just rolling out, throwing cash at the problem and rolling out fibre optic. And I know it's easy to say the US, the international case studies, they can do it, but it's happening day in, day out here on a national basis. There's indigenous Irish companies embracing alternative thinking. They can't wait any longer. They can't wait till 2016 or 2022 on this plan. That may or may not happen. So, from all different sectors, healthcare, agribusiness, they're all represented, and that's just a fraction of them. The one that we look at today is the case of Lakeland Dairies, a company that's located in rural Cavan and rural Monaghan. Lakeland Dairies is a fantastic indigenous Irish company. Typical site, located in the green fields close to the raw material, which is the dairy product. But this could be a hospital, it could be a healthcare, it could be a pharmaceutical plant. Lakeland Dairies have 170 products, which they distribute into 70 countries globally. 600 million turnover with 700 staff. They're a true 24/7 operation. But they were held back. They couldn't compete on a global basis. They couldn't compete because they were disconnected from the world. And with that, the IT team turned to alternative thinking. What we looked at here is they had a requirement for 100 megabytes dedicated connectivity, effectively fibre, but there was no way that fibre providers were ever going to get into Ballybor, Lake or Killashandra or Loch Agish in County Monaghan. So again, they turned to the licensed radio service. In the end, in 6 weeks, we rolled out a solution connecting all their sites. The brief was for 100 megabytes. In the end, we delivered a 200 megabyte dedicated service, effectively fibre optic services through the air. This enabled Jerry Ford and the IT team in Lakeland Dairies to roll out their IoT strategies, to roll out their hybrid cloud strategies, to embrace all the business applications that they planned, the huge DR plans, the virtualization, the Microsoft cloud platforms that they wish to roll out. So, to conclude, we have a problem here in the ground. We have government intervention. The problem is 2022 is too far off. The problem is $500 million of taxpayers' money is too much. What would $500 million achieve in the healthcare sector? What would $500 million achieve in education or roads? We need to embrace alternative thinking. We need to embrace a hybrid strategy. Certainly cities and towns and large metropolitan areas, fibre optic is fine. But for the rural areas, for the areas that are outside these cities, we should be embracing alternative technologies. We should be looking to microwave. We should be looking to 5G technologies. We should look towards our national and international peers. The Florida example that I mentioned, the Lakeland Dairies example. And with these, we should take their leadership and apply it here on a national basis. At this stage, I'd like to thank you all for coming along today. We have a stand here today from Viatel. By all means, we've two lovely guys on the stand, so pop along and say hello. We'd be delighted to engage. If you or any of your colleagues or friends are affected by this digital divide, by all means engage with us. We'd love to work with you guys. You can reach me at Viatel, Damien on Twitter. By all means, you can follow me or drop me a line. Thank you.